Can you hear me, Terry?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Yes, but I have to do something real quickly. Can you still hear me, Terry?
Yes, I can.
Better. Oops, there I went out. I had to plug in the right microphone, Terry.
Okay.
It was the one on the camera, and that one doesn't go so well. So I got to fix my hair a little bit, too. It's been a little bit of a rush of a Monday morning. You know, those Monday morning, I wouldn't say blues, but it's one of those things where you always feel like you have a little bit more time than you really do.
That's true. And the older you get, the more you're going to have that happen to you.
Oh, no. I'm having it happen to me a lot, too. It's just a funny story, real quick. You talk about being old, right?
Yeah.
So I went golfing with some buddies on the weekend, some friends I hadn't seen in a while. So it was fun. I had a good time. I played well on the first time, but the second time I played pretty poorly. So I was doing some things I kind of finally figured out at the end I was doing wrong. Maybe just getting a little tired because I'm old. I hadn't played that much golf in that short of a time in a long time. But anyway, so on one of the holes, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my friend, and I'm like, did you see my putter? Did I put it in your bag? I can't find my putter anywhere. I wonder if I left it on the green behind me. I said, but that's kind of weird because usually when you walk off the green, you hold the putter in your hand and you go look for your wedges and stuff that you laid around the edge of the green. Right. So we're talking, we're both looking in the bag, and then I look down and I had it in my hand the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I know. I've done the same thing. The other day, I had my glasses up on top of my head, and I'm looking everywhere and asked my wife, well, you seen my glasses? And she started laughing. I said, yeah, they're on top of your head.
Yes, I know. And these, if you're not there yet, you'll know what we're talking about before too long. And to make, the start of the day, I was joking because my friends, this group of friends are a little bit younger than I am. So I walk into the clubhouse and the guy's like, oh, do you get a senior discount? And I'm like, oh, and now that I'm starting to get all the senior discount questions. And I'm like, do I look like I'm that old? I guess I do. Well, what are you going to do? We all get there, right? The one thing none of us can beat, Terry, is time, unfortunately, right?
That's right.
So you ready for another good week?
I am.
All right.
I'm ready to go.
I know somebody's not going to be in for a good week because on Saturday, Terry, they start the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks qualifying at Churchill Downs, obviously, right?
Yes.
With the Iroquois and the Pocahontas races, I believe. And we'll have more on those later on this week. But somebody who's not going to get any points, his name is Bob Baffert.
Yeah. He's really fallen down. I mean, they're really he's crashing. So I guess probably a lot of his horses will go to other trainers.
Yeah, I imagine that if his best horses can't compete in the Kentucky Derby, I would think that, I'm hard pressed to believe that maybe Belmont and maybe Pimlico will allow for his horses to compete in the Preakness and in the Belmont Stakes. But I mean, if you have a really high quality horse that has a chance to win the Triple Crown, are you going to really bounce it around between trainers in those three races?
Yeah, well, if you're an owner and you're, of course, wanting to go for the Triple Crown, it's the biggest thing in horse racing. You're not going to take that chance. You're going to move to another trainer.
I agree with Tom. The tracks are trying to indeed push him into a corner. I as we speculated early on when all this started, I feel like he's just trying to delay. I think his finish line is this year's Breeders' Cup. And when he gets to this year's Breeders' Cup, if he gets, Gamine wins, and then that's his final swan song, if you will. I think you're right. If he comes clean and asks for forgiveness, but I think he's really angling for retiring. I think that's what's coming up next. But what's new? That's kind of old, right, Terry? So let's talk about something new. Before too long, the folks at Gulfstream will be able to run their horses on all sorts of surfaces, and you can read about the Baffert story. And you can also read about the Gulfstream Park story over at Horse Racing Radar. But they're going to be the first track in history, I think, to have a dirt track, a synthetic track, and a turf course all at the same, I guess, venue.
Yeah, that really that's true. And it's going to give them a lot of versatility, especially according to what's happening with the weather. They can change things around quite quickly. So.
Yeah, Tom's also mentioned owners at Keeneland today are spending millions of dollars to buy horses to run in the Triple Crown. And why would you want to spend the money and limit yourself when you can race them? I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, Tom. Well, I think the thing about that, Terry, maybe when they're done with that, the horses, when the races are over, can go race in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's true. They're probably good.
Yeah, I mean, every surface, right? What the heck? Why not run them out on the parking lot and just, well, or maybe what they could do, I think this might be an interesting thing. Um, I think a great thing they could do is they could have, you ever seen like wrestling matches where they have the WWE where they're tag team matches?
Yeah.
Or like the Olympics when they have relay races?
Yes.
So you could have a horse race where like the start line and the finish line for all three tracks. So the finish line is the start line for the next track over. So so you can have horse number 1, 2. Let's say you had 6 horses.
Yeah.
So on the inside track, which I think is going to be I'm not sure which one that's going to be, but let's just go ahead and say that the inside track is the all-weather track. So the first 6 horses can run around the all-weather track, and when the first horse crosses the finish line at the all-weather track, then if it's the number 1, then the number 1 horse in the turf course could take off.
Yeah.
And then when that one crosses, then over in the dirt course, the 1 horse. So kind of like a relay race. So you have 3 races in one, and then you can bet on all 3 races.
That'd be fun. I think that'd be great fun. Yeah. Maybe they'll do something like that.
Yeah, it would be very interesting, right?
Yeah.
And Tom mentions that it's going to preserve the turf course as they move to running year round. I agree, Tom. I think it's going to be a good deal, but I think you might as well use it for something like that. I think that'd be cool as hell. Have 3 consecutive races, a relay race, and you could have one that's like a sprint, one that's like a route, and something in the middle, maybe like a little, you could have some quarter horses to finish it off.
Or some mules.
Some mules, yeah, that would be fun. I mean, why not use it to an advantage? Do something novel with it so that maybe it brings in some more fans. I think that'd be a cool idea.
I do too.
All right. So Tom says the all-weather track will be the all-weather track. Yeah, of course it will be. Will it be in the middle, or will it be on the outside, or I don't know where it is in location relative to the other 2 tracks at the course? No, that's what I was alluding to. And then finally, Terry, in a story that is it too little too late? On our show Saturday, we talked a lot about at Kentucky Downs about how Joel Rosario was having a fantastic meet at the Kentucky Downs course. And then we were talking about Joel on every single, Joel wins at this distance. Joel wins at this distance. And then he didn't win, right, on Saturday. Maybe he did. I just don't remember. And then on Sunday, what does he do, Terry? The day afterwards, he comes through. And as you can see this on our Facebook page at racingradar.com, you will see that he won 4 on Sunday.
He did. 4 races, yeah. He's just riding like crazy. He's on fire.
Well, where were you on Saturday when Terry and I needed you?
Well, he knew he needed us. That we needed him, and that's why he did that.
Makes me. Come on, Joel. Can't you just give a guy one, man? You know, Terry and I need some new shoes, as they say.
Yeah, but he actually, he set a record for the meet with a total of 17 wins. So.
Yeah, I saw that when we were going through the numbers like we do on every live show. We talk about which jockeys do well at the distance and surface and which trainers and so forth and the type of horses that tend to win. And his name was popping up right and left, which, like I said, not surprising that he set the record. What was sad is that he didn't do it when we were calling him out. We were giving him props all day long Saturday. And then unfortunately, he never made a winner of us, Terry.
No, he didn't. That's true. Absolutely.
So maybe you can make a winner of us today with your best bet, Terry. So why don't you take us through what you're thinking today at Presque Downs for race number 2?
That's good. Number 2, I like the number 2, Cyberberg, has done well at today's distance and likes the track. She has won 3 out of 4 out of the last 5 races and ran second in the other 2. And she has a good trainer-jockey combination who in the last 17 days have won 2 out of 7 mounts. Then I like number 6, Pufferfish. Has the best all-weather track speed among today's starters. He has a high percentage jockey who in the last 7 days has a record of 19 starts, 5 wins, and 4 thirds. And then I like number 4, B-Wings. Has won the last 2 races in a row and has the highest last race speed rating.
So Presque Downs is also where Terry and I are going to do our fly for and our hot dog fours because they have 2 stakes races today for $100,000 or more at the track. So we figured we'd focus where the 2 biggest races are. Tomorrow, I think we're going to do Fort Erie because they have a $400,000 race. On Wednesday, we're going to do something different. Arizona Downs. They have a couple smaller ones. And then on Thursday, we're going to do Woodbine. So if you want to include your pick fours, tomorrow for Fort Erie, Wednesday for Arizona Downs, and Thursday for Woodbine. Hopefully I got that right out of memory. Make sure you send them to us either on, as you see below, at Racing Radar for the Facebook or Twitter, or you can email them directly to me at gtsrichb@gmail.com. Look forward to getting those and putting them up on the show. So you ready to get the first pick four of the day started, Terry?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and get that rolling, Terry. We'll do the fly four over at Presque Downs for races 5, 6, 7, and 8, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
Yeah, so just buying a little bit of time while I get the right window opened up on my screen so I can bring that to us live. All right, Terry. So race number 5, that is the one of the stakes races for the day. It's a 6 furlong race, and taking a quick look at the 6 furlong biases there. They've had 112 races at the distance. A third of them, Terry, have been won by speed horses. The rail horse has a little bit of advantage over everybody else, and it wins at 16%. 2 through 7 have win at similar rates, and the 8 and out really doesn't win as much. And this is the Mark McDermott Stakes. So tell me, Terry, who do you want to start the pick four with?
I like number 3, Center Mid Matty. He won his second race of his career at Presque Downs. Trainer Leon Hayes wins 50% of the races when the horse he's got entered in a non-graded stakes race. And he switches to a high percentage jockey, Pablo Morales, who in the last 7 days has a record of 24 starts, 7 wins, 10 seconds, and 4 thirds. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and he's 3 for 3 with the trainer Leland Hayes. So those two have combined. They don't really race that often, obviously, together, but when they do, they win. But I think they're going to have their work cut out for them, Terry, to be honest with you, because when you look at this 6-horse, Dr. Steve, if that last race speed figure, wrong way. If the last race speed figure holds true, that number was way over par for the rest of this group. And everybody else is so far off that number. And if he runs, he can even back up probably about 10% and still run circles around this field. He will have to run the same race that he ran in his debut, and bring it from Parks to Presque Downs. The only question is, can he do well on an all-weather track? But his trainer, Todd Beatis, is that his name? Tom Beatty, seems to have a decent sense of horses coming over to all-weather because he wins at about 24% on that surface. So he's probably a pretty good judge of whether a horse will like it or not.
Yeah, as you said, he had a great speed rating last time at Parks on his first career win at 86. And like you said, the trainer wins 24% of the races when he runs his horse on an all-weather track. I like that horse. He's my second pick.
I think he runs away with the race, to be honest with you. As long as he takes to the surface, I think there'd be no problem. Do you want to go any deeper here, or do you feel like that's enough because we need to go deeper elsewhere? How do you feel like constructing this ticket?
Yeah, I think we're fine for now on this.
All right. There's one other horse I was thinking about putting in there, Terry, because I don't, there's always a long shot in one of these. And to me, that might be number 9. You must be what's the name here? You must be a Weasley instead of a Weasel. The horse came out and showed a little bit of speed in its debut. And in the 8 horse, I think, is the third favorite according to the program, and that is Jojo Hans. If you like the 8 horse, you got to like the 9 horse. They ran in the same race. One finished 4th, one finished 5th. The 9 horse was a little bit behind the 8 horse, but the 8 horse looks to me like it's regressing in form. The 9 horse is making its second career start. So I feel like if the 8 continues to regress or even just holds firm, the horse making its second start really gives you more hope because it has, there's reason to expect it to improve. Whereas the other horse's form is kind of going down. So I feel like maybe we could put the 9 off to the side, and if we have a little bit of money later on, bring them in.
Yeah, because it's a nice bullet work of 5 furlongs, 59-1. Is the best out of 5 works that day. So, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah. You want to put him in right away or just leave him off to the side?
No, let's put him in right away.
All right, so let's put him in right away. Good idea, I think. So maybe we get lucky and we can hit a shot because morning line, he's 15-1 or something like that. So
yeah,
you got to have a shot in every one of these things, Terry. So race number 6 is a 1 1/16 on the turf. On the main track, on the all-weather track. They've only run 4 at the distance. 2 went wire to wire, but the average winner has been first or second at the quarter pole. So I'm going to suspect that there's going to be speed, probably bias as well, although 4 races is not enough really to factor that in as meaningful data. But which horse do you like?
I like number 7, a Cotswold Village, and he likes the distance, finishing 100 in the money 100% of the time, and likes the track, finishing in the money 100% of the time, winning 50% of those races. He won his last race at Pascal Downs and has a high percentage trainer, Cassandra Weaver.
What number was that again?
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay. So yeah, I was looking at Jay Marco's comment. Jay, this is what we used to do the prime rib, but Terry and I figured we'd put together what we call a fly 4. So we haven't really looked at each other's picks other than me putting them together real quick in a graphic. So we hash out. So the way it works is each one of us gets a lock, and we both have to agree on the horse, or the other can veto it out. So the lock means if I veto out a horse that Terry absolutely likes, we put him in. So together we're constructing a more expensive, what we used to call prime rib ticket, and then afterwards we'll show you our hot dog tickets, Jay. So race number 6, Terry likes the 7. I am going to go with number 5 here, Terry.
Yeah,
that is
programmer.
The programmer. 3 consecutive speed increases. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a blessing because the horse sometimes makes that trend continues to go up. And also can be a curse because many times after 3 times, the horse actually has a little bit of a bounce. So when I look at this horse, I expect that you're going to see it do a continue improvement here. So I like the 5 horse to go ahead and maybe even wire this field.
Yeah,
well, not wire, but win this race.
Yeah, he's my 3rd pick, and he's going for hat trick.
Mm-hmm.
He has a high percentage trainer and high percentage jockey, Pablo Morales. His average earnings per race is the highest of all the starters in the race. So I'm on board with that one.
Yeah, we talked about speed. He did have the fastest fractions last time out. For me, a little bit of, I wouldn't say a long shot, but a value in a horse I think that could be overlooked in here, Terry. Again, speed being the way, is Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
That's the 6 horse. When you look at it on the past performances, you see a lot of nothing almost. But when you look at the shorter races, it's been running at like 2 miles, 1.75 miles. I mean, just running marathons. Maybe it'll be one of those horses that can run at Gulfstream on all 3 surfaces and call it one race. But he, in those races that he's run that are shorter, relatively speaking, like a mile and a 16th, 7 furlongs, he was one of the pace setters. So I think that you're going to see Animal Kingdom get out towards the front, and that looks to me like the way you're going to win at this surface and this distance.
Yeah, he's my 4th pick, and he's been running in steeplechase races where he's been jumping the fences. Now he returns to the flat racing, where he has a win, a 2nd, and a 3rd in his last 3 races at today's conditions. So it's a good one for me.
All right. So who do you want to put off to the side here?
Okay, you're going to put that one in, right?
We put the 6 in, huh?
Okay, number 8, Low County.
Okay, so go ahead.
He's won 2 of the last 3 races. The distance should not be a problem, as he's finished 100% of the money, winning 66% of those races. He has a very good trainer-jockey combo, who in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 7 races. So.
And on top of that, Terry, the 8 horse has the best late pace figures in the field. So if closers do come and off the pace, I would imagine that the 8 horse should be one that will be charging hardest at the wire and could get everybody. He doesn't have the best early pace. He's probably going to be back towards the back third of the field when the race gets started. Mm-hmm. But if late pace does hold up or does prove to be the winning factor today, the 8 horse should win the late pace race. Race number 7, Terry, I think is the other stakes race of the day, right?
Yes.
That one, again, goes back to 6 furlongs. Again, we talk about that. 33% of the horses went wire to wire at the shorter races. This is the Finest City Stakes for $100,000, Terry. Who do you like as your top pick?
Number 7, Morning Matcha. She has finished 100% of the time in the money during her career and has the highest buyer number in the race. She has the highest last race speed rating in the race, and the trainer wins 34% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to the next race.
Mm-hmm. I like that horse too. Morning matchup. The only question for me is it ran at Saratoga. That last race speed figure was above par for this level. So if it can repeat that race, then it's not a problem. 3 consecutive speed figure increases. My concern is, and the only concern, and it is one of my top picks, so we're going to put him in there. But my only concern, put her in there, is that sometimes horses don't take to that synthetic surface. So if she can bring that Saratoga form over to Presque Isle Downs, not a problem. But if she can't, Terry, then I'm a little bit worried about that. So if that's the case, then I feel like You Look Cold should be a horse to contend with because, as I mentioned, 33% of the horses go wire to wire. And I feel like You Look Cold could be the fastest horse in the field. And it's also, because it's put up the fastest fractions out of anybody in the first quarter mile. But also, it's the only horse in the field that's running for a smaller purse in this race than it did in the previous race. Last time out, she ran for 200 grand. Today, she's only running for 100 grand. So it might be class-wise the same level, but because of the purse, I view it as an actual class drop. So the only horse in the field doing that.
Yeah, number 4 is my second pick. She ran a disappointing 5th in her last race, but has an excuse that she was bumped pretty badly at the start. Mm-hmm. She's 1 for 1 at today's distance and won that race very easily.
And that race where she got bumped at the start was at Monmouth. So if it disturbed her, the jockey couldn't use the crop to re-encourage her to get back into the race. So we don't know to what impact that had. If she runs here and gets off to a bad start, jockey can put a little bit of love into her and she can go ahead and find her way back into the pace. For me, I like a little bit of a long shot here, Terry, as my third pick. And I'm going to lock this one in, Terry. It's number 1.
Okay.
That is Heavenly Praise. Heavenly Praise has the top pedigree score for this distance and surface. In her debut, she did get off to a pretty quick start, but then faded afterwards. So I expect that you'll see a better race in race number 2, where she should be able to hold that speed and carry it for a longer distance. And since that last start, trainer Michael Trambada has put 2 really good solid works into this horse. I feel like Heavenly Praise could be the one that upsets the favorites.
Okay.
No arguments. All right, good.
No, it's fine with me.
Anything else that you like here?
I like the number 3. Is That Your Harley? She was a step slow at the start of her last race and came 4 wide into the stretch and still finished a nice 4th. Her best all-weather track speed is fastest among today's starters, and she may improve with blinkers being added today.
All right, sounds good. And then finally, race number 8 to close out our Fly 4, Terry. Where do you want to start this one? I feel like when I looked at this race, it looks to me like it's the race that has the most open in terms of which horses could win or the most potential candidates. It is a mile and a 70 yards.
Yeah.
And unlike the other race that was a mile and a 16th, they've run a lot more races here. It looks to me like you either want to be fast because 27% of the winners in the races went wire to wire, but speed only won 46%. So the majority of those, so the off the pace. So either you're out fast and you win, or you come back from the back of the pack. So pace setters or late pace numbers. So early on, looks to me like the 7, the 6, the 4, and the 11 will set the pace. And then on the way home, the 8, the 3, the 11, and 9 and 2 will be charging. The question is, Terry, which horse do you want to start it off with, a speed horse or a closing horse?
Well, actually, I've got a horse you didn't even mention, number 5, Adios Bobby. He's 1 for 1 at today's distance and at this track, and he's a high percentage trainer, Michael Papada, with jockey Willie Martinez, who has won 16% of his races this year.
All right, so I'm going to go with a little bit of a long shot, as it's not my first pick. But when I look at the early pace and late pace numbers, the 11 horse, that horse has as I mentioned, it should be amongst the early leaders, the 11 horse. And that's he's a believer. So I am a believer and he's a believer. 20-1 morning line, does have some of the best early pace numbers. And on top of that, has some of the best late pace numbers. So the horse can get towards the front, should have the legs to carry it home. Terry, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I didn't have it in my picks, but I like having a long shot there, so that'd be fine.
Yeah, one of these days we're going to catch one of these prices at the end of a race.
Well,
who do you like next?
I have another long shot in here. I like number 8, Beach Pass. Ran a good second his last race, even though he had troubles in the second turn. And he switches to high percentage jockey Antonio Gallardo. Yeah.
Gallardo.
Yes. So that would be my second pick. So I like that one.
You like the 8 horse. All right.
Yes.
So for me, I was looking at these races. I like the 8 horse too. To me, it was between the 8 horse and the 9 horse.
Yes.
And the 9 horse is Yadi.
Yes.
So one of the things I feel like is these horses I've mentioned a couple of times, this synthetic surface can be different for a horse. They may not like it sometimes. So last time out at Beach Pass Road at Presque Downs, finished second by a half a length. Real strong rush into the end, as I mentioned, should be the strongest closer. And if you rewind back until last October, that was the other time that the horse ran on that race, on that surface, and finished third by 2.5. Again, making a nice little bit of a move late. So you get a jockey upgrade here today with Antonio Gallardo. So I feel like the 8 horse is, if you're choosing between the 8 and the 9, 8's 10-1. The 9 horse is 7-2. So I'm always going to kind of lean towards the horse with the higher odds if I think the 2 are basically the same.
Okay. Good.
Do you agree or disagree with that kind of thing?
I agree, because the 8's a higher pick for me than the 9.
Okay.
I like the 9, but
you like the 9 too?
Yeah.
All right. So another horse I like in here, Terry, is the 1 horse.
Yes.
You like the 1 horse as well?
I do. Skydiving,
huh?
Yeah.
It does seem like the horse hangs though, Terry, because it finished third, second. So it doesn't seem like it knows where the winner circle is. So that kind of concerns me a little bit, but does have a win and a third in 3 races at Presque.
Yeah. And he drops in class today. The problem is, the one negative I see is he's not won since 2019.
So that's concerned. Do you want to put him in, or do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to toss him?
Do we have enough money to do that?
Well, we can put him in for sure, because I think we have what's 9 times. So right now we're spent 16 times 3, 48, right? So 48 times 3 is, I don't have my pen with me, Terry. I should probably have a calculator always available with me. So 48 times 3 is 9. It's $129. I should be able to figure that out pretty fast. So we could put the 8 horse in, or you want to put another horse in race 8? Where do you want to go?
I like the 1. I like to get the 1 in there, because I actually think the 1's going to do better in this race, and is going to be a better price.
In race number 8?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we have that one. But we can put the rate. We can put another horse in race number 8, or if you want, we can throw the 8 in race number 6.
Let me see here. Who do we have? We have 5, 7, 6, and the 8. Hey, let's put the 8 in number 6, if you don't mind.
All right, so we'll just switch the 8 from here to here. So now I know, because we've done this so many times, the math on this one, Terry, is $96. So for race 5, we like the 3, the 6, and the 9. In race number 6, we go 5, 6, 7, 8. Race number 7, we go 1, 3, 4, 7. And in race number 8, we go 1, 5, 8, and 11, with a couple prices in there along the way. I think we have a price in just about every race, Terry. So I hope that some of those prices, at least 1 or 2 of them, come home first.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So let's take a look now real quick, as Jay Marco brought up, about our hot dog pick 4s. This is where Terry and I take a little less money, and we try to be a little bit more selective in our selections, right? As they say.
Yep.
So there's our pick 4s, our hot dog pick 4s, Terry. So for you like the 3 and the 6 in race number 5. I just singled the 6. I said, if that horse can run the same speed figure it did in its first race, this race is over. Race number 6, you went 5, 7, 8. I went 5, 6, and 7. Race number 7, you went 4, 7. I added the 1 to that mix. And in race number 8, you went 1, 5, and 8. And I tossed in my 11 horse, because it has the best combination of early pace figures and late pace figures. Maybe catch a horse that can steal a race, so to speak. Okay. Finally, Terry, we're going to go look for Sasquatch now.
Yes, we are.
And I saved this for last for a particular reason, and it all makes sense in about 30 seconds, because you went with Presque Downs, and I tried a whole new what I would call daily double, Terry.
Okay.
So my daily double is Whoops, wrong button. I already showed that. So here you'll see Terry worked that Presque down. So race 2, 3, and 4. So he liked Cyberg, right, Terry? Who do you like?
Cyberg, number 2 in the second race. Third race, I like number 4, Vintage Kitten. And the fourth race, number 3, The Connector.
And I decided to go ahead and try a new form of double. Since I have ideas on new races at Gulfstream Park, I figured I'd add a little twist to the 3P parlay and our Fly 4 and Hot Dog parlay. I'm going to double up on these horses, Terry. In race number 5, I like the 6, Dr. Steve. In race number 6, I like the 5, the Programmer. And in race number 7, I like Morning Matcha. I almost feel like I should like the 5 in race 5 and the 6 in race 6 and the 7 in race 7 so I can do a little bit of numerology there, see how that works out.
Yeah. Well, that sounds fine.
It does indeed. All right, Terry. So that wraps up the Monday show. Anything else you'd like to add before we get going?
No, just hope we all have a great week and winning week for everybody out there. And I appreciate everybody getting with us. And if you like what we're doing, then go ahead and go to Facebook and give us a thumbs up and a like. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yes, many people have been joining us. We got a lot of really positive reviews on Saturday. Thank you for all the thumbs up. We can't tell you what to do, but the more thumbs up we get on YouTube, the more likes we get on Facebook, the more follows we get on Twitter, the higher we go up in the algorithms. And when Google or Facebook shows, news in their feeds and stuff, the folks that are getting a lot of response end up getting higher rankings. So we absolutely 100% appreciate the thumbs up, the likings, and the follows. Again, tomorrow, Terry and I will be doing Fort Erie, where they have a $400,000 stakes race and a couple smaller ones. So we're picking the biggest races of the day. We'll do it again on Wednesday at Arizona Downs, and then on Thursday at Woodbine. We'll move up to Canada. If you want to join along, again, as Terry mentioned, send those off to us, your pick fours. Hot dog and your hot dog pick 4 is off to Racing Radar at Facebook, Twitter, or email me at gtsrichb@gmail.com.
And since we're doing Fort Erie tomorrow, they're based on a 20-cent pick 4, so we're going to base ours on a 40-cent pick 4.
Fantastic. Or we could just do 20 cents and just go, I'll make Terry happy. All right, folks. Until we meet tomorrow in 23 and 30, as always, we hope that all of your tickets are winners, and may we see everybody in Jay Marco's Winner's Circle. Thanks for joining us today, Jay.
Yep.